Don't skip this. There's a moment in every person's life when they realize something painful. The world isn't actually watching them. Yet they've been living as if every step, every mistake, every decision is being judged. We shape our lives around the opinions of people who don't think about us, delay dreams because someone might laugh, hold back our truth because someone might disagree. And slowly, without noticing, we trade our freedom for approval. Stoic philosophy cuts through that illusion. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that other people's thoughts are outside his control, and anything outside your control should never control you. In this video, you'll learn how to detach from external judgment, how to quiet the noise of other people's opinions, and how to build an identity rooted in inner strength rather than social validation. If you're ready to stop caring what people think and start living by your own principles, let's begin. 1. The Stoic truth. People aren't thinking about you. One of the greatest sources of human anxiety comes from a simple misunderstanding, the belief that everyone is paying attention to you. We walk into a room assuming eyes are evaluating us. We hesitate before taking action because someone might judge, and we replay conversations imagining how others interpreted every word. But the Stoics point to a truth that is both freeing and humbling. Most people are too absorbed in their own struggles, insecurities, and responsibilities to think about you for more than a passing moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We all love ourselves more than others, yet care more about their opinions." It's a paradox. People rarely think deeply about you, yet you give enormous power to what you imagine they're thinking. That imagined scrutiny becomes a cage that limits your choices, your authenticity, and your potential. Psychology calls this the spotlight effect, the tendency to exaggerate how much others notice us. You think people remember your awkward comment, your bad hair day, your small mistake at work. In reality, they were too busy thinking about their own worries, deadlines, insecurities, or how they were being perceived. This truth is not meant to diminish you. It's meant to liberate you. When you stop assuming the world is watching, you regain the courage to act, speak, learn, and fail without fear. You stop performing and start becoming. The Stoic practice here is simple. Shift the spotlight inward. Instead of asking, "What will they think?" ask, "Is this aligned with my values?" Approval becomes irrelevant when your actions come from an internal compass rather than external noise. A practical exercise. The next time you hesitate because you fear judgment, pause and remind yourself, "No one is thinking about me as much as I think they are." Then do the thing anyway. Each repetition weakens the chains of imagined perception. Freedom begins when you stop living in other people's minds and return to your own. 2. You suffer because you try to manage other people's minds. One of the fastest ways to drain your energy is to attempt something impossible, controlling what other people think. You try to appear acceptable, likable, impressive, or non-offensive, and every move you make becomes a performance. But Stoicism delivers a sharp reminder. The opinions inside another person's mind do not belong to you, and they never will. The more you try to manage them, the more powerless you feel. Epictetus taught that freedom begins the moment you understand what is and isn't within your control. Your actions, your character, your intentions, these are yours. But the interpretations, judgments, assumptions, and stories others create, those belong to them. When you tie your self-worth to their approval, you hand over the keys to your peace. Think about how often people misjudge without knowing the full story. A co-worker forms an opinion from a single meeting. A stranger online criticizes without context. A family member projects their insecurities onto your choices. None of these reactions come from who you truly are. They come from their fears, their biases, their upbringing, and their limited perspective. Yet somehow, you treat their thoughts as if they were accurate measurements of your value. The suffering comes from chasing something you can never reach. You cannot control how someone interprets your silence, your confidence, your ambitions, or your mistakes. Even if you bend yourself to fit their expectations, they can still misunderstand you. And then what? You lose yourself while gaining nothing real. Stoicism invites you to shift your aim. Instead of trying to influence perception, master your intention. Instead of pleasing others, honor your principles. Instead of asking, do they approve? Ask, is this right, courageous, and aligned with the person I'm becoming? A practical exercise. Write down the names of 3 people whose opinions you fear. Then write a simple truth beside each name. I cannot control their mind. I only control my actions. Read it aloud until it feels real. The moment you stop trying to manage other people's thoughts is the moment you reclaim your power. 3. Approval. Addiction is modern slavery. There is a subtle kind of slavery that exists in modern life, a slavery so normalized that many people never notice they're trapped. It's the addiction to approval, the need to be liked, the obsession with being seen as good, smart, polished, or successful. And just like any addiction, the more you feed it, the more it consumes you. Today's world amplifies this trap. Social media trains your brain to seek validation through likes and comments. Workplaces reward those who appear agreeable rather than those who speak truthfully. Even family dynamics can condition you to earn love by performing rather than simply being yourself. But Stoicism offers a harsh wake-up call. If your peace depends on the approval of others, you will never be free. Seneca warned that a person who follows the crowd loses themselves. When your worth rises and falls with someone else's reaction, you become a puppet, and the strings are held by people who barely understand you. You smile when you want to rest. You say yes when your whole body begs for no. You shrink to fit expectations that were never meant for you. Approval addiction is dangerous because it tricks you into believing it's harmless. It feels good to be praised. It feels safe to be accepted. But the cost is enormous. You abandon authenticity, silence your voice, and live a life built on performance instead of purpose. The Stoic path is radically different. Approval is not the goal. Character is. Virtue is. Integrity is. A Stoic acts from inner conviction, not from fear of disappointing others. And ironically, those who stop chasing approval often become the most respected, because people admire what they cannot control. A practical exercise. Do one meaningful action this week that no one knows about. No posting, no sharing, no announcing. Something purely aligned with your values. This trains your mind to find fulfillment in the act itself, not in applause. Freedom begins when you no longer need an audience. Approval is sweet, but self-respect is sacred. 4. Judgment from others is always about them, not you. One of the most liberating truths in Stoic philosophy is this: other people's judgments are reflections of their inner world, not evidence of your worth. We often treat someone's opinion as a precise measurement of who we are, when in reality it's nothing more than a projection shaped by their fears, wounds, beliefs, and expectations. Think about it. A confident person interprets your ambition as inspiring, while an insecure person sees the same ambition as threatening. A kind person views your silence as calm, while an anxious person labels it cold. A jealous person might turn your success into a reason to resent you. None of these responses describe you. They describe them. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He reminded himself that people judge according to the values they hold, the pain they carry, and the limitations they cannot see beyond. If their values are shallow, their judgments will be shallow. If their hearts are troubled, their words will come from that turbulence. Why then should you carry their reactions like heavy stones in your pocket. Imagine living as if every criticism were accurate. You would become 1,000 different versions of yourself depending on who you encountered. It's an exhausting and impossible task. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Anchor yourself in your own principles, not in the shifting tides of public opinion. The next time someone judges you, pause before absorbing it. Ask, is this coming from virtue or insecurity? Does this person consistently act with wisdom, fairness, and clarity? Is their judgment grounded in truth or in their personal story? Most of the time, the answer reveals that their reaction has nothing to do with your character. A practical exercise. Take a recent criticism that bothered you. Write it down. Then write the question, what does this judgment reveal about them, not me? Break the illusion. Reclaim the narrative. When you learn to see judgment as a mirror of the other person's inner life, not a verdict on your own, you step into a new kind of freedom, one grounded in clarity, strength, and self-possession. 5. Stop over-explaining yourself. One of the most subtle ways people lose power is by constantly explaining themselves. You justify your decisions, your boundaries, your dreams, your preferences, as if your life requires permission slips from the world. But Stoicism teaches a radically different posture. A person who knows their values does not need to defend every choice. Over-explaining doesn't create understanding. It creates dependence on approval. Think about why people over-explain. They fear being misunderstood. They fear disappointing others. They fear being judged as selfish, strange, difficult, or wrong. So they stretch their sentences, add softening phrases, and present long explanations that no one actually asked for. But in doing so, they send an unintended message. My decisions need to be validated by you. Epictetus warned against tying your peace to what others think. When you over-explain, you're trying to control someone's interpretation. Something Stoicism tells us is impossible. Even the clearest explanation can be twisted by someone who isn't willing to understand you. And even the shortest statement will be respected by someone who already values you. The truth is, people who respect you don't need paragraphs. People who don't respect you won't be convinced by them. In modern life, this habit shows up everywhere. You explain why you're saying no. You explain why you need rest. You explain why you changed careers. You explain why you don't follow the crowd. But every explanation is a small leak in your self-trust. The Stoic alternative is simplicity. Say only what is needed, speak clearly, calmly, and without justification. Replace long defensive speeches with firm, clean sentences. I'm choosing a different path. This doesn't work for me. I prefer not to, because it aligns with my values. A practical exercise. Choose one area this week where you normally over-explain, maybe with family, co-workers, or friends. Practice responding with a single, confident sentence. No nervous details, no apology, just truth. The less you justify your life, the more you claim it. Your choices don't need approval. They need alignment. And alignment begins when you stop narrating your worth to people who were never meant to define it. 6. Build an internal scoreboard. Most people spend their entire lives playing a game they never chose. A game judged by other people's standards. Society gives you a scoreboard filled with numbers and labels. Income, appearance, status, praise, popularity, career milestones. And without realizing it, you start measuring your worth by metrics you don't even believe in. Stoicism calls this a quiet tragedy, a life lived for the crowd instead of the soul. The Stoics rejected external scoreboards because they knew how unstable they were. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet wrote constantly about the emptiness of reputation. Seneca warned that people chase applause only to discover how quickly it fades. The Stoic message is clear. Your value must be defined internally, not by shifting social winds. When you rely on external markers, you give away control. One compliment lifts you. One criticism destroys you. One good month makes you confident. One setback makes you doubt your entire identity. You become emotionally volatile because your self-worth depends on forces outside your command. But an internal scoreboard changes everything. Instead of measuring your life by outcomes, you measure it by effort, character, discipline, honesty, courage, and consistency. These are things no one can take from you. They are virtues, not vibrations of public opinion. Think of how differently life feels with a personal scoreboard. Did you keep your word today? Did you act with integrity even when no one was watching? Did you choose courage over comfort? Did you honor your values even without applause? Those are victories no crowd can grant or revoke. In modern America, people often feel pressured by career milestones, financial comparisons, or lifestyle expectations. But none of these reflect who you truly are. They are surface measurements. Stoicism pushes you deeper. A practical exercise. Take a blank sheet of paper and write "My internal scoreboard" at the top. Choose 4 virtues you want to live by. Perhaps courage, discipline, kindness, and honesty. Each night, score yourself quietly on those virtues, not to judge yourself harshly, but to stay aligned. When you build a scoreboard rooted in values rather than validation, you stop performing and start living, and life becomes yours again, not a contest, but a calling. 7. Practice. Stoic detachment. One of the most powerful skills in Stoic philosophy is the ability to detach, not from life, not from people, but from the stories your mind creates. Most suffering doesn't come from events themselves. It comes from the meaning you instantly attach to them. Someone looks at you strangely and you assume judgment. A message goes unanswered and you assume rejection. A co-worker is short with you and you assume they dislike you. But Stoicism teaches you to pause before believing your first interpretation. Detachment is the art of separating the event from the emotional story. The Stoics called these stories impressions, automatic reactions your mind generates without evidence. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to question these impressions instead of obeying them. This questioning is what gives you freedom because it breaks the chain between stimulus and reaction. In practical terms, detachment looks like this. Someone makes a comment about your work. Instead of spiraling into insecurity, you pause and ask, "What else could this mean?" A friend cancels plans. Instead of assuming offense, you ask, "Is there another explanation that has nothing to do with me?" You feel embarrassed after a conversation. Instead of replaying it, you ask, "Is this emotion based on truth or fear?" Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It's refusing to let your emotions be hijacked by assumptions. Stoic detachment also means resisting the urge to react immediately. Modern life pressures you to respond fast. Texts, emails, comments, conflicts. But speed is the enemy of wisdom. A Stoic chooses a slower pace. Pause, breathe, reflect, respond. This small gap between feeling and action is where self-mastery lives. A powerful technique. Pause, question, reframe. Pause, interrupt the emotional surge. Question, challenge your first thought. Reframe, choose the most rational, calm, and charitable interpretation. Practice this throughout your day. In traffic, at work, online, in conversations. Each time you detach from the immediate story your mind creates, you reclaim your power from fear, ego, and insecurity. Detachment doesn't disconnect you from life, it connects you to reality. Free from distortion, free from imagined judgment, and free to choose your response with strength instead of fear. 8. Live by principles, not audience reactions. One of the clearest differences between a person who is free and a person who is controlled by opinions is this. The free person lives by principles. The controlled person lives by reactions. When your sense of direction comes from the approval or disapproval of others, you drift. You adapt, shrink, modify, and dilute yourself depending on who is watching. But when your life is guided by inner standards, values you choose, honor and protect, you become unshakable. Stoicism teaches that virtue, not validation, is the compass of a strong mind. Wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance were not abstract ideals to the Stoics. They were practical anchors. No matter who approved or disapproved, they acted according to these principles. A Stoic does not ask, "Will they like this?" but "Is this right?" Not, "Will I offend someone?" but "Is this aligned with who I am trying to become?" Living for an audience is exhausting because the audience is always changing. Some people want you bold, others want you quiet. Some want you agreeable, others want you strong. You cannot build a life on unstable expectations. You cannot build confidence on shifting sands. But principles are stable. They remain the same whether you are praised or criticized, supported or mocked, understood or misunderstood. When you act from principle, your self-esteem no longer depends on outcomes. You succeed because you lived in alignment. You sleep peacefully because you stayed true to your code. And people can feel this. Ironically, those who stop chasing approval often earn the deepest respect. Because authenticity is rare, clarity is rare, and conviction is magnetic. A practical exercise. Write down 3 principles you want to define your life. Not goals, principles. For example, I act with honesty. I keep my word. I choose courage over comfort. For the next 24 hours, measure your decisions against these principles, not against how others might react. Let your values decide, not your fears. When you live by principles, something shifts. You stop bending. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop performing for people who don't even know themselves. You finally begin living a life that is yours. Reduce exposure to opinion-heavy environments. No matter how strong you become internally, the environment you place yourself in will shape your mind. If you spend your days around people who judge quickly, gossip constantly, criticize freely, or measure worth superficially, you will inevitably absorb their noise. Stoicism teaches that guarding your mind is just as important as guarding your time. And one of the most effective ways to stop caring about opinions is to stop living in places where opinions dominate. Some environments naturally amplify judgment. Toxic workplaces where everyone watches each other. Friend groups built on gossip rather than growth. Family systems that shame more than they support. Online spaces engineered to trigger comparison, envy, and insecurity. These environments don't just influence you, they condition you. They make you hyper-aware of how you appear, how you speak, what you wear, what you post, and whether you fit in. Over time, you begin to fear being different because difference attracts criticism in the wrong environment. But the problem isn't your individuality. It's the room you're standing in. Epictetus warned that we become like the people we spend time with. If you surround yourself with the judgmental, you become self-conscious. If you surround yourself with the superficial, you become anxious. If you surround yourself with the insecure, you begin to doubt your own gifts. Stoicism urges you to choose environments that support integrity, growth, and inner steadiness. This doesn't mean running from every difficult situation. It means being strategic. Sometimes the solution is shifting who you spend time with. Sometimes it's reducing social media exposure. Sometimes it's holding firmer boundaries, and sometimes it's recognizing that you've outgrown a room. A powerful rule to remember: if a space requires you to shrink in order to be accepted, it's the wrong space. Practical exercise. Identify one environment that makes you overly concerned about others' opinions. Then choose a small step to create distance. Limit time spent, unfollow certain accounts, reduce engagement, or seek out healthier circles. When you reduce your exposure to environments built on judgment, you create space for your true self to breathe, and for your mind to finally belong to you, not to the crowd. 10. The only opinion that matters is the one you'll have on your deathbed. There is a perspective so powerful that it instantly shrinks the weight of other people's opinions. Imagining yourself at the end of your life, looking back. In that moment, when your achievements, mistakes, victories, and failures lie behind you, whose judgment will matter? Not your co-workers, not distant relatives, not strangers online, not the people who doubted you, misunderstood you, or disapproved of you. The only opinion that will matter is your own. Memento mori, the Stoic reminder of mortality, is not meant to be dark. It is meant to be clarifying. It forces you to strip away the noise and see what truly deserves your energy. When you look at life from the vantage point of its end, you realize how small most criticisms are, how temporary most judgments are, and how irrelevant the opinions of people who never lived your life really are. Imagine your future self asking you, did you live according to your values? Did you choose courage over fear? Did you speak your truth? Did you chase your dreams, or did you let the crowd's whispers dictate your path? None of those questions involve other people's approval, because deep down, you don't want to be admired. You want to be proud. You want to know you honored your potential even when it was uncomfortable. You want to know you lived with integrity, not performance. The truth is simple. You will regret the times you held back, not the times others misunderstood you. You will regret the dreams you abandoned to please others, not the risks you took to honor your calling. At the end, you will see clearly that the only opinion that ever had lasting meaning was the one you held about the person you became. A practical exercise: close your eyes tonight for 30 seconds and picture your 90-year-old self. Ask, what would they want me to do tomorrow? Let that answer guide you, not the shifting preferences of people who won't remember their own judgments a week from now. When you live from the perspective of your future self, you stop fearing opinions and start pursuing what truly matters. And that is where real freedom begins. In the end, everything we fear about judgment dissolves into something simple. Most opinions don't matter, most critics don't remember, and most of the limits we place on ourselves are imaginary. What does matter is whether you lived by your values, whether you acted with courage, and whether you stayed true to the person you were meant to become. Stoicism teaches that freedom is not found in changing other people's minds. It's found in mastering your own. If this video spoke to you, let it become more than inspiration. Let it become a shift in the way you move through the world. Catch yourself when you seek approval. Pause when you assume judgment. Choose truth over performance. And remember, your life is far too sacred to be shaped by the noise of others. Thank you for watching. If this message helped you, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And tell me in the comments, I choose freedom